Space 1979. You've heard of Jerry Anderson's Space 1999, I dare say? Well, this is Meccano Space 1979. A Space 2501, or 2501, or 2501, whichever you prefer. Space set from 1979. A decent set. This is the second one I've had. The other one I had, I don't know, 30 years ago. Pretty good condition set, complete. Was the subject of a video, another one that was ruined by the YouTube soundtrack issues. Still available if you want to have a look at it, but it's pretty pointless now, really. A basic rocket, really. The gantry is one of several models in this set. You make essentially two models. You got the gantry, you got the rocket for this one. The gantry you can't quite make as it shows you, because there just aren't enough parts in the set to do that. This set was complete. Nice buy. I think it was 40 quid, I think. But it's like new even now. It's been used. The box is still good. Unusually, there are, I say unusually, if I recall my first sets, the few parts that you can see that are zinc, like the double angled strips at the top of the gantry and a few of the shorter double angled strips, part of the rocket at the base, they're all the rocket motors on. They are shown as white in the instructions, and indeed my set was white all those years ago. All parts are white apart from the angled brackets. This one, as you can see, there are some zinc, which seems to be some are, some aren't. Anyway, that's not really what we're here for. Of course, what we're here for really is to show you the very latest space set. The very latest Meccano Maker System 15 model Space Quest set. I've got this off the internet from Jadlam Racing Models in Somerset. They've got their own shop online. They also sell via eBay, and generally they do little deals with the brand new stuff. This was a case in point. Don't save a lot on the set, but with free postage added into it, it's pretty good. Now this set should be £24.99, which is the same price as the previous 15 model multi-model set. Although you can't compare these really at all, mainly because this is totally different. Whilst it would be quite natural for people to compare, certainly with some other sets that were under the same branding, and say just a variation of an older set, you could, and it would be quite natural to do, and I've done it myself really, to compare directly like for like. This one's a bit different because it is totally new, the space set. It's nothing like any of the multi-model sets. Yes, there was a large space rocket set many years ago, I think about 10 years ago, maybe a bit more, which I wouldn't mind if anybody's got one. But this is totally new. We've got the new tools. We've got 260 parts, and of course if you want to compare parts that you get in the set, then this has got more than the last multi-models 15 model set. But again, as I say, you can't really compare because this is totally new. I dare say human nature will be to compare, but it's not a fair comparison really in some ways. But same price, which is always a good start. It's not more expensive, so that's good. I must admit to not really being that keen when I first saw the prototypes of this set. I do like the nose cone on the old 2501 set. Okay, the new one's got more holes in, so I suppose that's better. More holes, more versatile, I suppose. But yeah, I wasn't very keen on it, but this one has grown on me a little bit actually, and a lot of white parts. There are some 1/4 inch hole spaced parts, and there are some narrow strips by the looks of it. We've got some odd looking spacecraft. I was going to say vehicles, but that looks like a satellite dish, not sure about that, small spacecraft. Nice looking satellite just there. And some futuristic-ish looking craft, that one especially. The box is a little bit battered thanks to Royal Mail. But this was just under, I forget now, £23 something, but just under 24 quid and post free. And it was Royal Mail 48 hour. Now you think, oh, that's good, like Parcel Force. Now it's just second class. Even so, this was ordered on the 30th of July, and with hindsight now, I know it was here on the 1st. So that's not too bad at all, the 1st of August. So there we are, folks. That's what you get. Of course, the usual plastic bags, and it does look, perhaps you'll agree, fairly, well, not full by any means, but a decent amount of parts in the box. Probably the better way I should say to put it is that the boxes are more relevant to what's in the sets now. There's not so many, there's not as much space. I mean, some of the boxes in the past, the multi-models were, and indeed there's some of them still around, they're just boxes full of nothing really. It looks impressive, but then it's a bit disappointing. This is quite a weighty box, and as you can see, we've got the usual bags and the instruction book at the bottom. As you can see, there's quite a bit of excess of a bag, of plastic on the bag, which is a bit of a gripe with me. However, there are lots of parts in there, but that does, I'm thinking, ooh, parts grating against each other. You can see the nice white strips in there. We'll open the bag in a bit. That's the first bag, the main bag if you like. Second bag is a bag within bags. We have the nose cone, which is plastic by the looks of it. The tools are in there, smalls, and these brand new plastic, of course. But I suppose you call that do you call that a flanged plate? I don't know. That's the second bag. Bag of nuts and bolts. That includes standard length and longer ones. And the instruction book. And as this is the first one, although I've got the 20 and 25 model set, as you can see there, that's the Meccano Maker System logo. Obviously, they're still using the old prints for the multi-models in the sets that haven't changed, the 3 and the 10 model. So, the paper on this is a best satin. It's not as glossy as the multi-models ones. Similar style. Here we go, folks, with the inside cover and the contents page of the instruction book. That is, not the parts. On the left we've got the tools, shows you the new tools, but it doesn't really show you, well, it doesn't show you at all, the basics, like how to put say use a nylock nut and the basic construction things that some of them have been having in. On the right, say it's the contents of the instruction book. You've got 5 models in the book: the rocket and gantry, a satellite, another similar rocket, what looks like a satellite dish, and then a satellite on a bit of a display stand. Very small indeed. They're more to be twice the size, to be honest. Could it increase those twice the size and reduce this black line here? You'd have much more room then. On the right we've got more models, the downloadable ones off the internet. Very small. I'll try and get this up here to show you. As you can see, it's very small. Too small really. Admittedly, there's quite a lot to get on a relatively small page. First model is indeed the rocket and gantry, the main A model on the box. A quick look through. There's no white outlining on the black parts. Well, there is on a few, not everything. But I should think the reason for that is that there's not a lot of black on black, and it's all generally white backgrounds, like white parts, or grey, light grey parts. So you can see, well, that's not really done. There's no real need, I should say. However, just looking at this bit here, turn over at random. Those parts there are very much a black blob. Okay, they're already on, so perhaps there's not a need for that because they're already on. I mean, if I go back a few pages, yeah, I suppose that, yeah, okay, fair enough. When you do need to see what it is, like in the inset there, it's okay. So they're already on. I don't suppose you need it. That's fair enough. But it does seem to be you're going to have lots of different styles, images, but they're mostly clear. You know, a quick look. We have no issues with the clarity. They are a little. They seem a little smaller than I'm used to. But then again, I suppose I've only looked at the smaller set so far. But a quick look through. Of course, we don't know if there's any issues, but they do look clear enough. And as we scoot through to the back, there we have the contents. So here's the parts list for the set. Bit more close up. We've got one nose cone, of course, that's new. We've got these new sort of flanged plates, plastic ones. We've got the metal ones there, the normal 3-hole bar 5-hole. Not that many 1/4-inch spaced parts. We've got some nano strips. We've got some nice length white strips there. What are those? 9.5-inch, I think, are they? Looks like it. Been a while since we've seen anything that long in a set, so that's good. We've got the new sort of push-in pin rivet thing there that's used on the Mountain Rally set to keep the bonnet in place. Sort of the push in and hold enough, but not so hard as it's hard to get out. Now, I suppose this is, if not already, this will start to become a running theme for these, well, I'll say set reviews, or a look inside the box, you might say. Standard bolts there, 74. At a dealer, that's just under £6. Standard nuts, 93. That's just under £4, if I remember rightly. £3.70 odd. So you've got virtually £10 worth of standard fixings, standard bolts and standard nuts. No nylock nuts in this set, but look, we've got 4 washers. So you got, out of £25, £24.99, you got £10 worth of standard fixings before you even look at anything else. So that is sounds a good buy to me, or a reasonable buy anyway. And I suppose those of you who've got the older 1979 set, you've already seen a little bit of. The slightly late, I think about 1980, 81, the hyperspace sets with the white parts. Some more white parts to go with them now. No flexible plates, but you know, £10 just standard fixings alone sounds alright to me. That's the all the parts out of the main bag. As you can see, we've got the white strips. These being these long ones, 7.5 inch, not 9.5 as I've mentioned before. A slight, I've got to find a new word. I don't like to use the word concern, but it's not nice to see parts that are curved, a little curved. I wouldn't say bent as such, and it wouldn't take a lot to get them straightened out, but you see they are curved, and I don't suppose they're supposed to be like that. But from a longer parts point of view, it's been a long time since we've had parts longer than 5.5 inch. You've got to go back to probably the 25 multi-model super construction set, and even before that the 50 model best of set, multi-model set. That's got longer parts in than 5.5 inch, longer strips than 5.5 inch. Of course there's zinc. The coating, which I presume is some sort of plastic coating, it is a bit gloopy. And there is a bit missing in the holes at this end. I presume maybe that's where they hang them to do the coating, whatever it is. I would argue that painting's a better finish, to be honest. And I suppose you have to look at costs. Who knows these days? The zinc said is a bit thin, usual. We've got a few of these thick plastic strips. There's 4 of those. Some of these hub drives, whatever they call those. But the nice thing about it, if you're after some, of course, and it's all relevant, if you need certain parts are better to buy, because of course you can't buy new from shops in individual parts anymore. So these 1.5 inch 3-hole narrow strips, there's 11 of those, which is a very good amount. I think the only other set you're going to get a few in, and you're not going to get 11, is the Rabbids Racing Shopping Trolley set. That's a good set to buy. Toys R Us were, last time I looked, still selling those for $9.99 if they're still going in, which is great for narrow strips. But you've got 11 in this set, which must be like, I don't know, something like 20p each at a dealer. So it all mounts up, I suppose. Just before I open this bag, the second bag if you like, I do like the way the parts are in this bag, or some of the parts. We've got the bag holding all the parts, but inside that bag, all the small brackets and things like that, they're all in their own small bag, not left to rattle around, or not so much to rattle around and clatter against other parts. Now the other plastic parts there ain't really an issue, I suppose, so they ain't going to get damaged really. But I'd like to see that in all bags. Now, the main bag, even though there is a lot of parts in the main bag compared to some sets, there are parts in there that I wouldn't like to see clattering around against others. So at the very least, half of that bag could have been sealed off the main bag. So like say the white strips were separate to everything else, just to reduce the chance of any damage in transit. Not from Meccano's side, but from the delivery people's side, because to be honest, I never used to have a problem with Royal Mail, and I know people have, and I've had problems with other people, other delivery companies. But I have to say I've had more little niggles with Royal Mail since they've gone privatised. No cards being left, for example. Anyway, of course, that is separate from the issue really, but there we are. That would be nice to see, better packaging, or rather more attention to detail with the current packaging. I think that would be best for everybody really. So anyway, let's have a look at this set. This bag, there's something there. Then we've got these new flanged plates in flanged foam plates. You've got the nice letter M on there, like that. Yeah. You know, I said this in the last video. You think I'd be used to this by now? Oh, I don't know. There you are, the letter M in the middle and the part number. Very handy. M's good. We like to show off the Meccano name. I never used to be one for that actually. When I was building models, you might find that part one side was flat, totally flat. Say a strip's totally flat and got the stamping on, and the other side was just ever so slightly curved in the form of it. It's still straight, and I always used to fit the flat parts together. Now it does grate with me a little bit, but I like to show the name off, so whichever side the name is on gets shown off really. I think we all ought to do that. So we've got 2 of those. The new-ish tools, the should we say the posh Allen key and the spanner, and that one is a dull one again. Actually, that's a point. Where's this one made? I'm guessing France. We've got a date on the box, by the way, 26th of May 2015, and it is a French set. Just there, French set. See, we've still got the Meccano community website labelling on as well, which has been a bit of a, well, to be honest, a damp squib. But trouble is, there's so many forums and sites out these days. I think it's hard to. It's a very busy internet. so it's hard to get noticed, I suppose. But there you have the cone, which nicely formed, plenty of holes. Looks like it's formed inside to hold the nuts as well, and maybe slot things into looking at it. But nicely made, though. Nice cone. Perhaps doesn't look as smooth and streamlined, I suppose, because there's the 1979 equivalent, where you pull it out like that. Now that does get weak in time, and then you've got the same system to clip it in the bottom, and you've got a base plate to bolt on, and then that also clips together. So I think I still prefer the look of the old one, to be honest. But as you can see, there ain't any holes in it, and that's a major benefit of one of those. So that is really nicely made. It's nice to see decently formed quality plastic. It's got a good quality look and feel. Very solid indeed, and well finished. No extra moulding, no flashing. So that's really nicely done. Nice quality. Plastic, you know, sometimes is cheap. Feels cheap, but it doesn't have to be. And here we've got, I won't bother getting these out, you've probably seen most before, we've got the smalls. Yeah, small angle brackets, there's a hinge in there, these small 3L strips of plastic variety, as you can see there, obtuse 3L strips, I don't know, all sorts of names. So that's the second bag, and quite a weighty bag of nuts and bolts, all in, long and short. That's your second bag, and the nuts and bolts bag. So folks, there you go. I've waffled again, no surprise really. But there we are, the 15 model Meccano Maker System Space Quest set. Goodbye, I think, really, overall. Same issues I've had before with the zinc that's on like most sets, to be honest, and then issues is really a bit too strong a word, but there you are. A decent buy, 10 quid's worth of standard fixings alone in a £25 set is good. Sort of gives you a good idea of the value, I suppose, of what you're getting in a set. Of course, any problems we'll find out when we make something. I'll probably make the A model first, but I do prefer the look of the large satellite. But there you are. We'll see what takes me fancy at the time. So next up, the usuals in the form of what we've done now, looking into the latest sets, see what we get in those, and see how they compare with value for money, using the standard fixings as a bit of a guide. But yeah, not a bad set. It's not my favourite set, and never was when I first saw it. It is a decent looking set, an intriguing looking set, and I hope other folks, younger folk of course as well, newbies, think the same, and that goes for all these sets. It'd be nice to see what happens. I know Meccano have sold more sets over the last 18 months than they have for many a year, but I think that's because I've bought most of them. Anyway, later folks.